The world's greatest podcast in America, John Reed, Cody McClure. Cody, you've made it back to Texas. How are you feeling?
I'm back here wearing my cowboy hat down here in Texas. Not really wearing a cowboy hat, but I'm wearing a hat. I thought that if people ever come visit me here, it would be fun to like rent a Cadillac convertible and wear like a big cowboy hat and pick them up at the airport that way. Wouldn't that be fun?
Could you maybe get some horns on the front?
Maybe. It'd probably come at a premium. I
If you
would
can get
say.
some horns on the front, it would be funny. Otherwise, it's a waste of time.
Oh, okay. Even if it's like a really nice old Cadillac, still a waste of time.
Got to have horns on the front.
You know, I have actual longhorn cattle around me. That is a real thing down here. It's not just a stereotype.
I don't think anyone thinks it's just a stereotype. I think people believe in the Texas Longhorn.
When I drive into Austin every day, I drive by them. These two big old longhorns. They just lay in this field and look at me. Beautiful, beautiful animals.
And I'd be interested to see how the people of Texas take care of those longhorns because we had a couple come through our farm back in the day, and they were always a bitch to take care of because you couldn't really doctor them. It was tough to get them in the head chute. The head chute is not meant to have those long ass horns walk through. You know, they're a typical cow, a typical bull does not have those long ass horns. So those cows couldn't really get through to where you catch them and then give them shots and everything. So I'd be curious to see what method they have in Texas. Are they just roping them and like shooting them with a dart gun, or how are they doing it? I would like to know.
What purpose do the longhorn cattle serve? Are they just breeders?
I think it's just decorative.
Oh, they're just there.
Like I don't think there's an actual purpose to have those long horns. Like it looks cool.
Yeah, I thought
I really think that's it.
I thought maybe they were like breeding, like making more cows with
You
their.
think they stuck the horn in a cow, or what? Like some of the longhorns, most of the longhorns are probably actually cows.
Well, what do you mean?
Females.
They're not
like
steers?
females. Yeah, sure, some of them, but if they're steers, they're not breeding. If they're steers, they've been castrated.
Well, which cows are the breeders? I thought they're
Bulls. Bulls
Oh,
are the breeders. They're the ones, but bulls are male cows.
so longhorns are not bulls.
Longhorns can be bulls, but typically no. Typically they'll be. I mean, I think most of the ones I've come across have been either female or its. Steers are its. Steers are bulls that have been castrated that are now, I guess still technically male, but they're not reproducing at all. They got no balls.
They're like trans cows.
No, they're not trans cows. They're basically eunuchs. They've been castrated because something biologically, whenever you remove the testicles, the testosterone goes away. Therefore, you can fatten them up for more meat and such. Like you get them nice and fat.
Oh, okay. Well, just as a casual cattle observer, for some reason, I always pictured the ones with the big long horns as being males because they just seem kind of more dominant, I guess. I didn't know they could be women.
Yeah, no. Typically, like I said, I would imagine a lot of the longhorn bulls get theirs clipped because bulls are more usually wound up with all the testosterone, a little bit wilder and get a little bit bigger. So you get you a 2,000-pound longhorn, that thing might be able to do some damage.
Yeah,
might be a little bit more wound up and ready to go crazy.
Well, Bevo, he's a male, isn't he? I mean, Bevo.
I would guess that Bevo. I don't know. Is it Bevo the bull? I was gonna say Bevo's probably a steer,
Which is male.
Which is an it. Yeah.
So does Bevo have a cock?
He would have a cock, but it would almost never come out. Usually, like the cocks don't come out once the balls are gone. It just kind of pees out of like what basically looks like a little string.
Oh, how emasculating.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's why people say the only thing that come from Texas are
steers
and queers, not bulls, not cows, steers. Texas is Texas does a lot of the meat farming.
Yeah, yeah, that they do. Well, they're pretty to look at. I know that much. They're big, beautiful cattle. Let me ask you another cattle question. Do you ever, can you go up and pet a cow, or do you have to, or is that dangerous to do?
Do you mean like do you have to ask it for consent, like someone's dog, or what?
No, no. I mean, like if I saw a cow on the fence and I wanted to go up and just give him a nice pat on the head, would the cow, do cows try to bite you? Do they try to like
No, no.
stomp at you? Like,
It's definitely not going to try to bite you. It's
well, I'm
definitely not
just
going to try to
saying,
bite you. No, like chances are it's either going to run away or stand there and let you pet it. Typically,
they're big enough to hurt you if they wanted to, but
yeah.
like they're kind of so you would say most cattle are kind of like pacifists.
No, I'm not going to say pacifist. Although I guess maybe like the majority of the times, if you walk up to a cow in an open field, it's going to run away.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like the majority of the time. Now, if it's a domesticated cow that's like older, that's basically raised calves all the time, that you handle a lot, milk cows, that are around humans all the time, you can walk up and pet them all the time. You can just pretty much walk up to them. They'll follow you. They're very domesticated. But
Oh,
like, yeah, like back on my farm, you would have walked up to them and they just would have ran away. Like that's kind of why that's the way you're able to herd them. You drive towards them, you walk towards them, and they walk away from you. And you can, if you can set it up the right way, rig them to come up from the field, up the fence, into the barn, and then you can do stuff with them in the barn.
I would just think for having that much size and strength, I wouldn't imagine that field cattle would be such pussies, but I guess they
No, no.
are.
So now some of them aren't. Some of them aren't, but typically they're not going to seek you out. So like if you walk up on a fence, they'll usually turn away versus like put their head down and try to fight. But say
Well,
you're in a hallway in a barn and they're coming by you, they might come at you to push you out of the way at that point. And then that's when they get to bucking.
okay, let's say I have a bushel of carrots. If I walk up to the fence line with a bushel of carrots, would that make a difference or
I've
probably
never
not?
known I've never known cows to eat carrots. I've known horses to eat carrots. We used to give cows some apples sometimes, but typically they're not going to know what the hell you're doing unless you have fed them that treat countless times. Then, like any other animal, they'll learn, hey, this thing is good. This guy's going to feed me a nice treat. I'll
That's how
come up to
you
him then.
that's how you tame a lion. You walk
So,
up to the
like, I mean,
lion.
like with us, we'd take feed, and like we'd have certain herds, and I would take them, and I would pour feed into the trough, and then they would eventually come up and eat and start associating me and my truck horn with being fed. And much like Pavlov and his dog, you
Mm.
classically condition them. So when they see your truck, they start running down the hill. You start blowing the horn, they start running down the hill to get fed.
Your truck had horns on it.
No, like a horn, like
Oh, you beeped at them.
yeah, you beep the horn at them, and that they would signal. They'd hear, oh, that means food's here. So then they'd come running down because they like the sweet food that you would feed them.
Well, you see those trucks that have horns on the front, and I was
Well, that's
wondering
what I was
if,
talking about with the Cadillac. Yeah, that's what I wanted on your
yeah.
Cadillac that you're going to pick us up in the airport.
Well, I was just wondering if maybe if you're feeding cows, if they kind of look at you as like one of them, if you come up in a machine that has horns on the front. But I don't know.
Possibly, or possibly they would connect the two and be like, wow, this guy's an enemy. This guy's an op. He killed my brother.
So
I don't know.
you're saying the other cows see a longhorn cow and they're not intimidated. They don't look at the longhorn cow as being like a badass because in
Oh,
other
I didn't say that at all. Why would you think I said that? Where did I say that at?
oh well I don't know you just I just it felt like you were kind of the horns kind of emasculating.
Well, no, I'm saying I would imagine that the bulls can tell that they have no balls. So like the alpha of the farm is not going to be scared of a longhorn in that regard. It's not like they are going to say
Okay.
this cow is going to stab me with the horn. No, they're not. They're not going to think that.
Okay, well, I guess I was just wrong in my theory that I just thought Longhorns were probably kind of badass, and it doesn't sound like they're really the. And so maybe that's why Texas hasn't won any championships in several years.
It's very possible, and it's also maybe why they are so sensitive about the horns and the horns down, because deep down they know that really they are just kind of useless pussies, and like, hey, our life goal is to be ground up and ate,
Mm.
either in steak or hamburgers or whatever. Like that is the only purpose of the steer, is to be eaten.
It,
That's it.
the whole thing is a facade. It's
If you're a
basically
bull, if you're a bull, your purpose is to fuck. If you're a woman cow, just a cow, Heifer, your goal is to have sex and then raise babies.
Mm.
A steer is just there to be fat and get eaten. That's it.
Like me.
I wasn't going to say it, but kind of. You're
The
closer to a steer in this scenario.
the team nickname wouldn't be as cool though if you just called them the Cows or the Heifers. I
But what
mean,
about the Bulls, the Texas Bulls?
well, the Bulls would be cool, but there's other teams already called the Bulls, and so they've stuck with this Longhorn thing, and now
there's like 10 different versions of Tigers.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you name your team the Tigers, you're really not trying. Like you're not a serious program if you're called the Tigers. Way I see it, but that's just my opinion. It's a beautiful Thursday down here in Texas. O.J. Simpson is dead, and I ain't feeling too good myself. Woke up with a little back pain, so I can relate to probably what O.J. was feeling up to the time of his death. What would you call it? Bittersweet, sad that O.J.'s no longer with us. Don't care. I mean, where do you stand on it?
Well, it doesn't directly impact me, but I'll say I care because OJ is one of the 10 biggest celebrities of my lifetime.
A great running back. He had a promising Hollywood movie career.
Look, there are two things that you think about with O.J. Simpson, or that you should think about with O.J.
Steers
Simpson.
and queers.
Greatness and murder. Greatness and murder. Like, he has what maybe is the best season in NFL history at running back. He had 2,000 yards in fewer games than everyone else. Like, he did it in 14 games. He has the all-time record for most yards per game in a season. He had 143 yards per game. That's kind of crazy. And then, the greatness surrounding him, the best car chase ever, the most iconic car chase ever, the best trial, the most electric trial, iconic. If the glove don't fit, you must acquit. He had, some of the best jokes ever, in SNL history with Norm Macdonald and Tim Meadows doing the I Did It on the telestrator.
The best.
Chris Rock. Don't forget Chris Rock.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I do it, but I understand.
The best golf cart videos on Twitter. I mean,
I was going to say he is the best convict to get out of prison and start doing social media videos.
Yeah, the man led quite a life.
He lived murder, like I said, you got to have the murder in there too. A lot of murder and crime associated with him too. A lot of gold, a lot of blood.
I wouldn't say a lot of murder. I mean, it was really just the two, right?
Well, two is a lot. Two is a lot. I mean, I don't know how many people throughout history we know that have killed more than two people, but two's up there.
I wonder
he's in the top 1% of murders, allegedly.
Yeah, he was acquitted for that. I wonder if there is a heaven and if he's there. Like did he, in his own private way, in his own personal conversations with God, if he believes in a God and if there is a God, did he get forgiveness? Did OJ get to the gate of
Peter, right?
St. Peter. Did he get to St. Peter's gate and St. Peter said, "Come on in, OJ, the water's fine"? Or was he damned to hell? We won't know until we get there ourselves.
St. Peter looked at him and said, "If you can't fit this halo down below, you gotta go." And he sent him to hell.
I think that was Rihanna or Beyonce. Beyonce did the one about the halo, right?
I don't know. You tell me.
I think that's a Beyonce lyric that you just said.
Just paying homage.
Homage. Well, RIP to a great running back and a great person by many accounts.
Do you want him to rest in peace?
Yeah.
You don't want him to be a little restless in the afterworld?
No, I feel that what he did was a long time ago, and I think he was a better person now, and I don't think he would have killed anyone recently. So I think he should be forgiven, and, I think he's a fun personality, And personally, if I make it to heaven, I want OJ in my heaven. But maybe that's just me.
Have you ever seen the video of him and basically the first interview he did after beating the case, and he has that woman in the hotel room?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's very awkward.
But then, like at the very end of it, he comes and plays a prank on her by waiting outside her door with a knife,
Yeah, yeah. It's
and he
amazing.
simulates stabbing her.
I,
That's what he does.
I wonder what kind of terror she was feeling.
You would think at least a little bit, right?
Probably a little bit. Probably a little bit. And OJ showed us that for a certain amount of money, he would be glad to talk about the murders and theoretically whether or not he did it. A great American story, really, when you think about it. OJ Simpson, one of the great Americans to ever live.
Is that an overstatement to say he's one of the 10 biggest celebrities of my lifetime? I was born in 1990.
I don't think that's an overstatement at all. Now, the things he did on the football field that brought him initial fame happened before you were born. But by the time you were born, I mean, the car chase happened, when you were 4 years old? So,
I
and
remember
then,
it.
yeah, yeah. It was the first, I mean, it kind of started cable news, if you think about it.
It started the way we cover. It started, yeah, the way that the news operates, and it started the news can be entertainment. We can make a lot of money by reporting it because, yeah, people were glued to their TVs, and it became the first like celebrity scandal in that magnitude. And then, yeah, like you said, the true crime genre, the debates, showing court cases on TV,
Yeah,
keeping up with those. That was the first. It's also one of the greatest sports documentaries of all time. Either the 5 part Made in America ESPN doc.
he helped launch Ford's Bronco. I imagine that the Broncos sold a lot after OJ's car chase. He
Can
probably
you look
made.
that up? Let me look that up. You don't really have a chance to type on your thing because I am interested
I,
in the Ford Bronco sales by year. Hold on,
I
Ford
feel
Bronco
I feel that
sales by
Ford made a
year.
lot of money off OJ. I think they should put out a statement today saying thank you for your contributions. I think Hertz should
You
do the same.
so you think more people bought Broncos after the chase
Oh
than
yeah, oh yeah,
really?
yeah, no doubt about it. It's the whole reason they brought it back. Why would they not bring it back? Like
No,
the
it
only
might be
reason,
it might be the whole reason they got rid of it.
yeah, but then they brought it back
Well,
because
yeah, they didn't
OJ
bring it
was
back. No, they didn't bring it back because of OJ. What the hell are you talking about? Why would they bring it back
OJ
because of OJ?
OJ was exonerated. You need to stop talking about him like he's a murderer. Okay, he was acquitted.
Uh,
He
Let's
was
just show on the
acquitted.
2021 numbers. What did OJ Chase do on Bronco sales? Let's see there.
The
That's not
Denver
good.
Broncos. Why do you think they're called that?
Horses.
Would the Bronco be like the Longhorn of the horse community?
Marca.com says the car model gained global attention due to the OJ car chase, which led to sales skyrocketing at the time. So there you go.
How about that? What an impact that this guy had on so many lives, particularly those of Nicole Brown and Ron Goldman. They also were heavily impacted by OJ's presence.
That's true. That's true. Sorry, I'm reading about this. 95
Prayers.
million viewers. 95 million viewers watched the chase.
Wow.
The Ford Bronco. Okay, so let's see.
How many people
Sales
watched
jump.
the Super Bowl?
Hold on, God damn it! I'm trying to do some research. Sales jump from how many people watched the Super Bowl? I mean, about 100 million. So I mean, about as many people.
That's OJ's car chase was as big as a Super Bowl.
Well, yeah, that's kind of crazy. I mean, I feel like I'm surprised we haven't had another instance like this. Like, I don't know if people just aren't committing crime and being wanted for murder, or if everything's a little bit more quiet. I don't know, but like, it is kind of crazy. It's been 30 years and we haven't had another chase like that.
I could see Antonio Brown maybe getting involved in something like that eventually.
Well, we had a standoff, but they didn't put TV cameras out there, and Diddy's getting chased, and we didn't get a camera out there for him. But let's see. So jumped from a respectable 30,000 to 37,000. Okay, so that's not necessarily skyrocketing. That went up 7,000. Although such a sales spurt is unheard of in the automobile industry. However, a little over 2 years after the chase, Ford pulled the plug on the Bronco. It was rumored the negative press from the Bronco being a part of the chase led to the demise. So I was right, not you. I was right.
I mean, it sounds like I was right too. I don't know why they would have pulled the plug if they're selling more cars. I don't really, I guess, PR, I guess, but like you're selling more cars. Why pull the plug?
It went down in 1996. So it went from 30,000 to 37,000 in a year. But then 2 years after that, it was back down to 28,000. So it did have a negative effect.
Oh, so like most corporations, they made their money off of it, and then they said, "Okay, now we'll stand with the we'll stand unity behind the families and blah blah blah." Yeah, I see what they did. I think Hertz should put out a public statement today saying that they're mourning the loss. Thank you for all the money you made us.
In this statement, the Ford person said it had nothing to do with it. Lawyers, I mean, really just criminal defense lawyers. They owe OJ a lot of money too.
The Kardashians, like reality TV. I mean, this guy had an impact on so many.
How much did OJ have to do with the Kardashians?
I would say a lot, because they would have never surfaced if not for Robert Kardashian, right? They would have never had the money.
Well, Robert Kardashian could have been a lawyer and made money regardless. You know what I mean? Like, he could have been a lawyer that wasn't famous, but he still would have been rich.
I feel like that fame that came off of that, though, it had to have had an impact. Kourtney Kardashian would not exist without OJ.
You mean Khloe?
Yeah, whichever one. Supposedly he's their father. I don't know which one.
The one that doesn't look like the others.
Okay, yeah. Have we heard from Caitlyn Jenner?
The one that looks like the size of an NFL running back. The one that's pretty large. That's the one. Not cute little Kourtney.
Well, I don't know the difference in them. I don't keep up with these Kardashians.
And yes, I do believe Caitlyn Jenner reacts and says, "Good riddance."
Oh, that's rude.
Well, that's what Caitlyn said.
Well, what did Bruce say?
Bruce hasn't commented yet.
You're not supposed to dead name. They call that dead naming.
So far, the tweet of the day, at least as far as I've seen, is the New York Post putting out OJ had just assured fans, which is kind of funny anyways. Like, the idea of being an OJ Simpson fan in 2024. Like, who the hell is actually a fan of OJ Simpson? But the New York Post tweeted out the video and said, OJ assures fans he's in good health, right before dying of cancer, to which someone quote tweeted it and just said, OJ lied? Question mark.
Yeah. I saw that.
Simple but effective.
Simple but effective. That's right. Well, R.I.P. to OJ Simpson, and I hope wherever he is now, I hope he's happy.
I want to talk more about OJ Simpson, or at least I want to flesh out who our top, is it flesh out or flush out?
Flesh out, I think. I don't know. Flesh? I'm going to say flesh.
Well, flush out would be like in the toilet.
Well, since this is OJ, let's go with flesh, because I think that's something he knows a lot about.
Think of fleshing out a skeleton. To flesh out is to give it substance. Yeah, okay, so flesh out, like I said. Then I got nervous. Okay, so to flesh out.
Said, Tone?
No, I'm looking up shit. I can't see you when I'm doing stuff, but what do you got?
Do you hear what I said? Do you hear what I said, T? I said, since we're talking flesh, we should use flesh, because we're talking about OJ, something he knows about.
Let's flesh it out. Top 10 most famous people of our lifetime. So we'll just do since 1990, just to make it simple. You're a little bit younger than me, but it's close enough.
I'm just going to say names, and you tell me whether or not you agree. So,
and this is just whether or not they should be considered for the top 10.
Which means they could have achieved fame before 1990, but by the time we were born, they were heavily famous, and they remained famous for some time. Okay. Michael Jackson.
Yes.
Michael Jordan.
Yes.
Tiger Woods.
Yes.
Oprah.
Yes.
Look how many in the black
Can we get some
community are
whites? What the
represented.
hell?
Yeah.
Can we get some whites here? We need some
Um,
representation.
okay, like Madonna, but I'm gonna say no if we're talking top 10 because you got to realize it's athletes, actors, like everything. So
I would say Madonna in the 80s, yes. In the 90s, no. Like since
okay,
1990, I'll say no. She is not top 10.
okay, but for sure, Jordan, Jackson, Tiger, Oprah, like those are four for sure, right?
Yeah.
Would you say Kim Kardashian?
I'll allow her to be put in consideration.
Jay-Z,
No.
Beyonce.
Consideration.
Black people are so famous. What are some whites? Like I don't know. Let's think. Jeff Gordon, no. Um, what are some whites that could be? Okay, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Not top 10.
He's the most famous actor, though.
Is Leonardo DiCaprio more famous than anybody you've said so far?
No, but among actors, he would be, right?
Is Leonardo DiCaprio more famous than LeBron James?
Not sure.
Is Leonardo DiCaprio more famous than Robert De Niro since 1990?
Well, not all time, but because of the
I
1990
said since
cutoff.
1990. Since 1990, is he more famous?
Since 1990, yes.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just asking.
De Niro did Goodfellas in 1990, but like after
Don't forget
that,
Meet the Parents.
Well, yeah, like I was going to say after that, it's like Meet the Parents.
Jerry Seinfeld.
That's wild. You just said Jerry Seinfeld because that's what I was thinking too. Because my mind went to Ben Stiller and then I went to comedians, and then it's like we were on the same wavelength there.
Who's more
Jerry,
famous, Leo or Jerry Seinfeld?
I gotta think Leo's more famous than Jerry Seinfeld.
I don't know, man. Like 90 million people watched the finale of Seinfeld or something crazy like that.
Would Jerry Seinfeld be our top white?
I don't know. I'm asking. I think he deserves to be considered a potential top 10 most famous person since the 90s. Now, and we're just, I'm going just like in the U.S., by the way, not like globally. So don't reply in the comments all about all these soccer stars. I'm just doing
Sorry,
in America.
Sorry, Yao Ming. Yeah, just America. I think Jerry Seinfeld, I think Leo deserve consideration. I think Kim Kardashian deserves consideration. Does Kanye deserve consideration? I mean...
Yeah, but we're already up to like 8 or 9.
Yeah, and so far we're just kind of on music and athletes. And
what about the Octomom?
I'm gonna say no.
What about John or Kate plus their 8 kids?
I don't know who that is. We haven't even gone political though. Like Donald Trump is obviously on the list.
That's funny that me saying whatever it was, whatever celebrity it was,
a reality TV star.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say Donald Trump and Obama.
Wouldn't, by definition though, like wouldn't every president be on the list?
Well, yeah, but so I'm gonna limit it just to Trump gets to be an entertainer as well.
I feel like we should just pick one president. Yeah,
I'm going Trump. Trump's more famous than Obama.
Yeah, but Obama's pretty famous. Like Obama's more famous than Jerry Seinfeld, like without a doubt. So it depends on whether or not we allow multiple presidents.
Are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay, you cut out. You said Trump is more famous, or you said Obama's more famous than Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah, it just depends on whether or not we're going to allow multiple presidents.
Fair enough.
I mean, that's pretty much the list, though.
You start throwing in the royal family, if we're keeping politics in it.
The fucking queen, she's British.
They're pretty famous in America. Princess Diana was pretty damn famous.
Yeah, because she wrecked her car.
She was famous before then, but yes.
Well, again, we're keeping this American. I mean, we can't go...
She was famous in America, though. I remember being like 7 years old watching that funeral with my mom and her crying. Like, I remember that. She was very famous here.
Well, those foreign soccer stars are pretty famous in America, too, though.
No, I know, and I do think that Messi and Ronaldo probably do have a seat at the table, but that's the only two I'd listen to. I'm not going to listen to like the other ones, like Neymar or any shit like that. But Messi and Ronaldo probably do have a seat here in the top 10.
Michael
So
Phelps.
maybe OJ's not top 10.
Well, any Olympians, Michael Phelps, Usain Bolt, they're probably not top 10. They're like maybe in the top 25.
Yeah.
Would Caitlyn Jenner be there?
No.
No. I think that pretty much covers it.
I mean, Taylor Swift, Justin Bieber.
Yeah, they did. They did get pretty popular.
Those are both pretty big, megastars.
Pretty big pop stars, yeah.
Yeah, I would say Taylor gets a seat at the table.
Bruce Springsteen.
I don't know about since 90.
No, not since.
When was
90.
his heyday? Like 80s, 70s? When was his heyday?
80s. He would be in the same grouping as like Madonna, Prince. But Michael Jackson kind of transcended all that because he was huge in the news coverage in the 2000s. Like, and then he died. Like, he's probably number one on the list. I mean, maybe him or Michael Jordan. I don't know.
I would say Jackson's probably bigger.
Actually, Trump is probably the most famous. He's probably the most famous person in the world.
Famous or infamous, depending on which side of the aisle you're on. Am I right?
Yeah, but I think it counts either way.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of these people we've mentioned are infamous. Like OJ is infamous.
And Oprah, the way she allows people to jump up and down on her furniture.
And don't forget about the whole island thing. Her name was on the list, too.
Oh, yeah. There's another one, Epstein. You got to put him up there somewhere.
I enjoyed the exercise. We can move on now.
All right, let's move on. How's your life? Anything going on? Anything fun happening in your life?
I'm going to go to the movies here in a little bit after I get done recording and get the YouTube video in the process of uploading. So I'm excited about that. Eating some popcorn.
Okay. Well, that's a natural transition into two of my stories. Will you be having sex with your Dune themed popcorn bucket at the movies? Because the AMC chief operation officer said they would not have made the Dune popcorn bucket if they knew everyone was going to want to have sex with it. Have you seen this contraption?
Well, I don't know if I would call this topical, seeing how that movie came out like over a month ago, but
well, the headline just came out.
It does look like a butthole. You know me, though, not really into anal, so no, I will not try to have sex with my popcorn bucket.
I do not know that about you. That's a weird thing to say that I know. You know me, not into anal. It's a weird thing to say.
I talked about it like 2 months ago on the podcast. That was a part of my joke. Which, by the way, I've had to end my Thursday joke segment because A, you quit going to stand-up or at least recording it.
Not true.
And B, you never use them in your sets. And C, you always made me feel bad about myself. So I've quit giving you jokes.
I went to stand-up just last night. I performed at a wine bar.
How'd you do?
There were literally there were two other people and the host. So
were the other people comics?
Yeah. So I just, we counted as stage time and that's what matters. But as far as like killing an audience, I did not no. I mean, but
did the other comics say you had some good jokes? Did they? Yeah, did you guys have to be supportive of each other since you were the only three losers there?
Yeah, I mean, I shook hands with the guys after, and they're like, "Hey, I'm Mike. Hey, I'm Cody. Whatever." But like,
good stuff, man. You were funny.
Yeah, basically. But those.
Let me know if you ever want to collab together.
Yeah.
We should become a comedy team. We should start doing some improv classes together.
We should have a writing session.
We need a fat guy in our group. You want to hang out?
Well, there were more than...
How would you feel to be the host? How would you feel to be the host of a trivia night that had 3 fucking people there?
Well, this is why I was going to say there were more than that when we started. It was more like 8 people.
And everyone left?
Still not a great turn. Yeah, people did their time and then they left. And I was I was on the back end, so...
Do you feel obligated to stay and watch the other people?
If there's only 8 people there, I do. Yeah, I mean, I stay. Especially, like, if people are going to watch me, like, I'll stay and watch them. But
yes, that's kind of fucked up. Everybody left unless it was like 1 a.m. at night.
No, it was like 9 p.m. But like,
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. Those people are jerks.
well, I understand it though because a lot of people are going to multiple mics, which is what I did too. After that, I was going to go over to Roscoe's, but I didn't get my name pulled, so they pulled 20 names, and there were like 40 guys in there. So
What's worse, going eighth in a train or going eighth in an 8-man comedy nights and everyone leaving except for two other people?
define worse. I'd say it's worse to be the eighth open micer because you're not getting any pussy out of that. At least being the eighth guy on the train, like you're still running a train. I mean, so it's still fun, right? But anyway, no, back to your anal, though. You've never told me you're against anal. And
No,
I
I
don't
have.
know.
I had that in my stand-up joke about how I wanted to
Well, yeah, it's a
always
joke.
ask the. No, I tell my jokes are rooted in truth. My jokes are rooted in truth.
What's wrong
I'm
with
not.
anal?
I'm not just out here making up fictional wives or girlfriends for my jokes, buddy. My jokes are legitimate from life experience. But back to the movie bucket. So that's the one story. What's the other story? You said you had two movie stories for me.
Just going to gloss right past the anal, huh? Well, the other,
No one actually likes it.
I disagree.
No
I
one
think
actually
I
likes
think
it.
a lot of people like butt stuff, and
Well, I didn't say people don't like butt stuff. I didn't say that.
I don't know what you don't like about it.
It's just dry.
So you don't eat ass?
Again, that's not. But I mean, I'm not saying that people are anti butt stuff. I'm saying I don't like the act of sodomy. It's illegal in some
Penetrating
states.
the hole, I see.
Yeah, it's illegal in some states. It's very uncouth.
Have you and Bob discussed this on the radio?
No, no.
What
He got a
about
little nervous. He got a little nervous when I was talking about Chip being attractive from Chip and Joanna.
Chip and Joanna Gaines, the home improvement people?
Yeah,
Why were you talking about that?
you didn't see that exchange that he had on Twitter or X or whatever, like because
No.
Kentucky was trying to steal their coach, right? Kentucky was trying to steal Scott Drew from Baylor. Chip and Joanna, big Baylor fans, they're out of Waco themselves, so he was trash talking, or Kentucky fans were trash talking him about how they're going to steal their coach and how much money they have. And then he's like, "Yeah, everyone has money, but we have God." And then someone said something mean to him, and he wrote back, "Go ask your mother about me. I'm sure she knows who I am." AKA, everyone's mother wants to have sex with me because I'm the
Ugh.
cute, nice, funny, religious, good man on TV, and basically I can fuck all of your moms. And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I kind of think that's true. Like all of our moms probably do think that Chip is a looker. And then I was just talking about, I don't know if I necessarily think so, but there have been times I've wondered just because Joanna's pretty hot, and if Joanna likes him, then he must have something going for him. And it's just one thing led to another.
And you made
But yeah,
Bob
Chip.
uncomfortable?
Yeah, but Chip told everybody basically on the internet he could fuck their moms if he wanted.
Yeah. That's probably a lot of truth to that. My mom loves HGTV. That's all she watches. So I'm sure she knows all about him.
See,
Yeah.
that was a
Yeah.
pretty good flex because that is steeped in truth.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose it is.
Awkward transition. All right, what was the other movie story?
Tom Segura had a joke about eating ass, and he said
That's cool.
that he eats ass and his friends don't like it because his friends say, "No, you can't eat ass, man. That's where she shits." And he's like, "Well, yeah, you don't do it then." So anyway, the other thing I was going to say was this Kelsey Plum thing. I know this is a few days old too, but you said popcorn. It made me think of popcorn. She was eating popcorn. Did you find that to be? Did you see that and say, "Wow, I hate this bitch," or were you just like, "Oh, just a white girl having fun"? Because it started a real dialogue on the internet.
This is one of those things I saw and I kept scrolling and I didn't bother to make a comment or have a reaction to it at all. I mean, she was just probably feeling a little uncomfortable that the camera was right in her face, so she was making a weird thing with her eyes. But her eyes she's a little cross-eyed anyways, a little bit, like just slightly cross-eyed herself. She was just
Yeah.
eating popcorn. I got no issue with it. I didn't understand why everyone was so mad at her.
I don't think they were mad at her. I think they were just like, this is like white girl trying to be funny. Like, oh, look, I'm so quirky. Which I thought she looked cute. I thought she did look kind of quirky.
I mean, I think plenty of people would make a weird face if the camera was awkwardly pointed at them. I just sheepishly would be like, just kind of do a little sheepish wave. Like, what else are you supposed to do? Maybe a thumbs up or something. Like, I don't know what you're supposed to go with there.
Would you also shrug your shoulders down like you just did? You're like, oh, hey,
Yeah,
hey.
probably like my little wave. I probably would. Yeah, because it's awkward. It's uncomfortable.
I'd drink a beer. I'd be the guy that chugs a beer.
Hey, I'm Taylor the One. I'm chugging beer. I'm so cool.
Yeah,
That checks out.
that's the
That
coolest
checks
thing
out.
you can do with a camera.
Hey, I'm gonna throw a chair off the 6th floor of a Nashville bar, and I'm gonna throw it, and hopefully it hits nobody. But that's what I'm doing because I'm crazy.
Well, speaking of country and western singers, Tyler Childers was in town here last night. I made some money off your boy. He brought me a nice crowd for the Uber rides.
He'll be in Knoxville on Tuesday.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I wonder if he's taking that Allegiant flight.
I'm gonna say he's bussing.
He's got a bus.
I would guess he's bussing across the South. It probably has a couple shows between now and then. So
Does he
no, I don't
drive?
think he's. I would imagine he doesn't have to drive his own bus. No, I'd imagine they have somebody to drive it for him.
I would drive my own bus if I was a country western star. I'd write songs about it.
At least half the time, or at least every now and then. Maybe not half the time, but at least like an hour a week or something. Like, hey, let me get back here. Let's take some pictures for social media. That way, I could be the everyman. I could post something about how my bus driver was tired, needed a nap, so I said I got it because I care about the working man. That's the type of shit I would pull.
Yeah, yeah, it'd be good PR.
Plus,
Unlike what?
I like driving big rigs like that. I always wanted to. So driving a big ass tour bus would be kind of cool.
What if you got pulled over and you didn't have like your CDL and they arrested you, and then you could write a song about that? You could be like, they're just putting a working man down. I was riding my bus down I-40, and then they
Do you have to have a
stopped me.
CDL to drive a bus?
I think so.
Do you have to have a CDL to drive an RV? I don't think so, right?
No, I don't think so for RV.
I'd imagine for a bus, it's kind of a similar rule as an RV. You probably just have to have some type of like certification on it, some type of thing on it. But I would imagine CDL is not one of them.
I don't know. For some reason, I thought you had to have CDL.
I mean, you might be right. You might be right. I don't know.
You definitely got to have some certification, some kind of thing.
What license do you need to drive a tour bus? Yeah, you are right. It is a CDL.
Well, it's still better than flying. These days, all these planes, these Boeing planes, I'm sure you've seen this with all the doors flying off and stuff.
I mean, what's the deal with Boeing?
What's the deal with it's these old airplanes, I guess. They just, they're falling
All the
apart.
bolts and doors are Boeing, gone.
Now, there's a joke. That right there, that'll kill. Boing, gone. Oh, that's fun.
No, you can't say it like Boeing. You got to say like going, Boeing.
That's what I said. Boeing,
Eh.
gone.
Okay, it sounded like you said Boeing at first.
I don't
Either
know.
way.
I didn't mean to say
Just make sure you enunciate properly, because that's the joke. It's like going, gone, except it's Boeing, gone.
I'll definitely make a note to add that one into my set.
Boeing, we're all going to die. Maybe that's it.
I did something gross a couple days ago.
Boeing, gone to hell. I don't know, gone to heaven, going to the afterworld. Workshop it. Try a couple different ways.
That's where
What
OJ's
did you
going.
do that was disgusting?
It's pretty gross. It's pretty nasty.
I don't want to hear it then. Let's move on.
I was at a gas station, and they had donuts in there that they deliver into the gas stations, and they were fresh. So you can always tell when they look fresh, like they just been delivered. And I opened the case, and I was going to get a couple of those chocolate donuts, and I noticed that there were gnats flying around in there, and I bought them anyway. And I ate both of them.
No, you say the knights were flying around them, so like it's like a big cooler, like a setup, kind of like just a regular donut thing. You open up the glass, and there's like 3 or 4 in there. Is that type of thing?
Yeah. There were multiple gnats. There were like at least 4.
And you said they were chocolate donuts?
Yeah, but they were fresh chocolate. Like they had just been delivered not long ago.
Yeah, but do we think? Oh, so they got delivered, not made there.
Yeah, I'm assuming they were delivered there.
Because like if the icing wasn't exactly hard when they got there, if they were fresh, like you're saying, there's a chance a couple of the gnats flew into the chocolate and got stuck in the chocolate and were on the chocolate
Yeah.
as you ate them.
Yeah, and that was a risk I was willing to take. I don't know how many gnats were in there, but I saw at least 4 flying around, but the donuts looked so good I couldn't withstand it. And I thought to myself when I was eating them, I was like, maybe this is a low point. Maybe this will be the moment that finally gets me on the full-time healthy eating track. But I don't think it's going to have an impact.
I was going to ask for an update, but you already gave it to me.
And if there was a gnat in my chocolate, wouldn't it just be extra protein? I mean, gnats don't carry disease, do they? They probably do.
Not enough to hurt you. I've never heard of like, the mad gnat disease or Ebola being transferred by gnats or, the SARS, the West Nile virus. Those are mosquitoes
How would I
on a lot
know?
of them.
How would I know if I had malaria? Like, what are the symptoms?
I think your head starts shrinking.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's Ebola. I'm pretty sure.
Is that true?
Yeah, look it up.
Have
Now
you researched that?
I don't know if it actually like makes your head shrink, but like the thing was like if you had Ebola and you had a kid, the kid would come out with like a small head. There was a chance. I'm not kidding around. I'm telling you the truth. You might not have been old enough for the Ebola scare, but I was.
It was like 2008, wasn't it?
Ebola head. Let's see. Ebola baby head. Let's see.
That sounds like something that's probably been disproven. That was just like a conspiracy type thing.
Or maybe it was Zika. Maybe it wasn't Ebola. Maybe it was Zika.
Those alcoholic things in the bottles?
I don't know. No, that's Zima.
Oh.
4 to 9% of infected pregnant women gave birth to babies with permanent brain damage. It's called like microcephaly, but I don't really know. I'm not going to look it up much more because I got pictures of babies with tiny heads on my phone now, and I don't like it.
You ever get drunk on Zimas?
I believe I tried one before, but I don't think I got drunk off one.
I used to ride four-wheelers as a boy, rural Arkansas, with my older cousins. And they'd be riding around four-wheelers. They were always drinking Zimas, and they'd let me just have a sip every now and then. I was just a kid, I was probably like 6, so they weren't going to let me get drunk. But I remember taking a little sip of the Zima.
Wasn't much bigger than a baby squirrel. I was just 6 years old. My cousin shouldn't have been letting me drink like that. I could never do that voice. I could never do that voice without absolutely wrecking my throat. It's impressive. It's impressive that Billy Bob was able to do it for a whole entire movie.
Does an impression count if you then have to cough after? Because that's how I always feel after my Pacino. I always have to cough.
What'd you kill Jesse for? What'd you kill Jesse for?
When was that movie?
Cough that time.
93?
When was that movie? Oh, I thought you said what was that movie? 93 sounds like a pretty good guess, although I would say like 96 if I was guessing.
What are you doing with that lawnmower blade, Carl?
I'm to kill you with it.
Wait a second. Dwight Yoakam wouldn't have sounded like that. What are you doing with that lawnmower blade, Carl? I'm to kill you with it.
Okay, stay off my lane. You're Dwight. I'm Carl. 97 maybe is actually my actual guess before I Google it. Let me Google it now. But 97 is my actual guess. 96. God damn it. I should have stayed with 96. Motherfucker.
Eddie George won the Heisman that year. No, that was 95.
Yeah, I was going to say, I believe it was 95, sir.
96 would have been Danny Werfel.
What'd you kill Jesse for? What'd you kill Jesse for?
You going to watch the Masters this week?
Yeah, I'll watch some of it.
Thursday through Sunday?
Are you going to watch? No, I haven't really watched any today.
No, I might watch Sunday, but I won't be watching Thursday, Friday, or Saturday.
I'm going to see Civil War at 4 o'clock. So by the time I get home from the movies, coverage will probably have ended.
I had a sexy blonde girl yesterday telling me that she was getting ready to see that Civil War movie. And that's the first I'd heard of it. I feel like this movie just popped up out of nowhere.
You're not a real movie boy.
Is it
Real
highly anticipated?
real movie boys know about this movie. A24, the GOAT when it comes to making movies. But yeah, Jesse Plemons, Kirsten Dunst. It's basically like I was going to call it fictional, but maybe a preface to a real civil war of the new Americas, right? You know how we're in these culture wars and all these states don't like each other. And
Mm-hmm.
basically the country splits up into different, into different countries, and we're back in Civil War times.
So it's going to be kind of like an apocalyptic, like a day after tomorrow type sort of thing, but not like
Mm,
with the natural disasters, but kind of that lane.
more like Red Dawn, Russia invading America type of thing. Like Red Dawn from the '80s or the remake where China did it. We're like, you're showing war in America is what it's going to be.
She's
You'll have. Go ahead.
the girl told me that California and Texas secede from the Union.
Yeah, it doesn't really seem like California and Texas would team up, but maybe they'll explain that in the movie why California decided to go with Texas. Although maybe it's the rest of the state and not L.A. I don't know.
No, I think they like secede on opposite sides of the Union. I thought is what
So there's
happens.
three countries. No, I don't think that's the case. I think California. Well, maybe California and Texas. Yeah, maybe they're at war, and the rest of the U.S. is out to get them. I see the trailer when I go to the movies, but I haven't looked into the movie because I don't really want to know what's going on. I see Jesse Plemons, who's such a good bad guy. Shout out to Todd from Breaking Bad. And there's a point where he has a journalist and some Americans, and they're like, he's in warfare gear, he's in military gear, and the guy's like, stop, we're good, we're Americans, and he's just like, which side? And the guy's like, He's like, so you don't know? And then you hear him shoot a gun at somebody. So like, I'm like, oh, I'm in. Boom, this is great.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a good line.
Maybe this will finally get us to close the border, huh?
I'm an American. Which side? You shouldn't have to answer that. You know what I mean?
Did I
It's
tell
Civil
you?
War.
Did I tell you that I drove by the border wall when I came from California to Texas?
You did not.
I drove right by it. I drove on the highway that goes right by the border around El Paso, and I saw the border wall.
Did you get out and take a picture?
And I think I took a video when I was driving by it.
You should have done some content.
It's a big wall.
Do you think you could climb it?
No, I didn't see anybody sneaking over.
Did that disappoint you?
Yeah, I was kind of hoping there'd be people just lined up, like flooding in, like the news coverage says. They probably got certain areas they go to come in. Mm-hmm. There's like a notorious like hole in the fence or something, and they're like, we know a spot.
We can easily get in right here.
Tell you what really grinds my gears about this Masters tournament, this golf shit going on.
Uh-huh.
I'm getting sick and tired of seeing these dumbass Masters prices. And I'm tired of seeing this every year. About, we got $1.50 pimento cheese. We got $1.50 egg sandwich. They put this out every year like it doesn't cost multiple thousands of dollars to go to this event. And it kind of makes them look like, no, hey, look at us. We haven't changed our prices. Like they're not making up for it and more in many other ways. Tired of seeing it.
I will say I don't know if the prices are directly attached to the Masters. I know a lot of those are resale stuff, but you do have to enter a lottery. I don't know what it costs if you win the lottery. It might be free. I have no clue. I don't know what it is, but the resale stuff's what's crazy. I don't know if you're buying them directly from the Masters. I've never gone. I have no interest in going. I don't really care about the Masters.
Would you not be interested to go to any golf event? Like just watching golf live doesn't do it for you? Is that what you're saying?
I've watched golf live once in Memphis at a PGA event, and yeah, no, it didn't do it for me. It was hot. My allergies were acting up. You couldn't really. You have to be quiet. You can't really hoot and holler.
Not good for you.
And I also don't have like any people that I really like are huge fans of. Like people that usually love golf, like almost all golfers, or like most of them, and just hate like a handful. It just wasn't a very good experience for me. I would maybe go to the Ryder Cup though. That way I could be like, go America. I'm rooting for all Americans. We hate foreigners, because that's kind of what this country was built off of. You know what I mean? Like, hey, America first. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, golf is it's kind of a white man's game. I mean, it's a white man's club. They didn't let black people into the Augusta there for a long, long time.
The prices they have maintained were from the good old days, back before they had to let black people in.
It is funny though that they let black men in before they let white women in. Like even 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 though they had to pick one, they had to come up with the times a little bit. They're like, okay, we'll allow black men in here because some of them are good at golf, but the women, no, we don't want any goddamn women in here.
I did see a story today that they were asked about, if they would ever have a women's event at the Masters. They're like, no, no. Still not going to do that. No, no chance. Not going to do some LPGA stuff there. No, thank you.
Yeah. It's very traditional. Very traditional. That's part of the beauty of it, I suppose.
Simpler times.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I got.
Well, the only other thing I had is a homeowner was kicked out of her house in favor of a squatter.
Okay.
I guess she owned this home, as you would expect from a home owner, and they made her leave, like because she walked in and there were people. I guess her house was empty and people moved into it, and I don't know what state this was, but based on the laws, like it then became their house. Squatters.
Possession is 9/10 of the law, but no, I mean, like, I've always heard how tough it is to actually evict someone. And like if someone lives in your house, like and rents from you, it's really hard to actually like get a judge to kick them out. But the idea of just squatting and basically just moving into a house, seeing that you don't own or that you pay for at all, seems absolutely crazy to me. And I feel like maybe that's because in the South, I would just be afraid that the homeowner would shoot you for being in your house and say they were protecting. I mean, because like theoretically, couldn't you like come in, see somebody in your house and just say, hey, I thought they were going to hurt me and shoot them? Like, I feel like in the South, they'd be like, yeah, that's fine. You're good.
The only thing worse than that would be if it was the love of your life and she had moved a Jewish man into your house and you maybe had to take matters into your own hands. I ain't saying he should have killed her, but I understand.
It's a good place to end it. Way to bring it full circle.
Beautiful.
Talk to you Monday.
All right. Have a good week.